Don't you love when you find the book at the right time and it just hits? And that's exactly what happened for me with this book. Captivated, gripped, and hooked. When I read page 1, baby, I am in a chokehold, okay? And I have a lot of things to say. Sis got the bills piling up, the debt collectors are calling. It's not looking too good for her financially. So good, this is so good. It's more fun at MJR. And they have sausages. She was just single and in a dark place. And then she was just, you know, running through the homies. And so, perfect day to get a book, baby. Hi friends, how are you guys? I hope that you are doing fantastic, darling. I'm doing great. I'm having candy. You can never be sad if you have Twizzlers. My grandmother's funeral was a few days ago now. Today is Monday. Her funeral, it was Saturday. So this is kind of like a week in the life, summer reading diaries, all that fun stuff. And one of my friends brought me comfort snacks. Oh my God. She was like, just in case you feel sad, let me get you some of your favorites. She brought me Twizzlers and a Barnes & Noble gift card. Stop playing with me. Get you some friends like this. I'm just saying, get you some friends like this. So the book that I am currently reading is Within Arm's Reach, and it is by Elle Napolitano. I thought her last name was pronounced Napolitano, but it's Napolitano. And I know that because I am also listening to the audiobook. There are 5 other narrators throughout this book. One of them is Brittany Presley. Absolutely love her as a narrator. And then the other one is Marin. I believe that's how you say her first name. I think it's Marin Ireland. She's the narrator of like the Beartown series. Oh my God, I love her voice. I love that series. Hearing her voice again, it has me so excited to get to the final book in the Beartown series. I'm gonna read it, but I'm gonna wait. I am just not ready to close out things with those characters yet. Speaking of characters, Miss Anne. Miss Napolitano, she knows how to write character-driven stories. I am about 60% through the book, and so we only have about 40% left to go, and it's so good. Oh, it's so good. It does feel like it could be a little slow or maybe even a little bit boring at times, but that's because the story is really about the characters. It's about you getting to know this family. It's about 3 generations of women, and you have Grandma Catherine, the mother Kelly, and then her 2 daughters. We get to follow these 3 generations of women as they navigate completely and totally different phases in their life. And I just love how authentic she writes characters and how beautiful, with so much empathy, she writes these situations. They're so relatable. And so I think it's supposed to be slow and, like I said, a little boring-ish at times for you as the reader to get to know the characters and find a connection. The story really is about the people. The plot is there, but it's not the most gripping. It's not the most exciting, but it's just still so beautiful. She has such a way with words, and then she has such a beautiful way that she weaves the story together, and it just flows and it makes sense, and she can navigate from one scene to the next without it feeling choppy or broken. And she is just such a beautiful and talented writer, and I love it. So the plan for this week is for us to just kind of hang out together. We're going to read a couple books from my summer TBR, because let me tell you, here in Michigan it feels every bit of fall. It was like 68 this morning, and I think right now it's only like low 70s. Love this type of weather. I am such a fan of fall. It's my favorite season. My birthday is in October, and I've just always loved it. The colors, the temperature, the weather, the fashion, the food. I'm just like, oh, I'm so excited. So with that being said, I'm like, let me finish out my summer TBR before I am just not in the mood to read these books at all. But I do want to show you guys a quick mini little book haul that I got. So I got 3 new books that came in the mail, and one of them we will be reading in this video. So that's why I want to go ahead and haul them. The first one is The Bluest Eyes by Toni Morrison. Oh my God, I'm just so ready to get into another book by her. And I am ashamed of myself. When I did my mid-year wrap-up, that I did not mention her other book. Gosh, I can't even think of the name. Sula. Listen. Okay, listen. Sula definitely is gonna be one of the best books that I've read so far this year. Next book, Kristen Hanna book. I really enjoyed The Nightingale. It was so good. And Firefly Lane, there's actually a series on Netflix. I almost wanted to watch it, and then I was like, you know what? I think I just want to read the book. I want to read the book first. I really enjoyed her writing style. Her books feel so fall-esque and so cozy. It doesn't even matter if this takes place in the summer. It's just so big, and I like reading bigger books in like the fall, winter, because you can just take your time and chip away at it. And I love that it's a book centered around friendships. I love stories about friendships, so I had to go ahead and order that. And then The Rom-Comers by Catherine Sinner. So this is the book that we will be reading after I finish Within Arm's Reach. I've been reading a lot of like literary fiction heavy books, which is fine, that's my genre, but after the loss of grandma, I just feel like I just want something fun and light. And I don't think I'm in the mood for a thriller just yet, but I'll probably be in the mood for a thriller after this. So this book is so pretty. Look at the edges. Oh my god, this is so cute. I absolutely love it. I don't even know what this book is about. What if real life turns out to be so much more real than fiction? What if the love story they are writing breaks all of Emma's rules and comes true? Oh, I think it's gonna be cute and cheesy and fun. Baby, we finished Within Arm's Reach, okay? Let's talk about these characters because like I said, it's a story about characters. And what I think is important to point out is this book was actually republished. So it was first published, she said, in 2004. And a lot of people couldn't find it. It didn't do well. Even now on Goodreads, it still has like a 3.49 overall rating. It's only 7,482 ratings. That's low for a book that came out in 2004. Oh, it was good though. The characters were just so authentic and so real and so relatable. The situations and the characters, they're so tangible. You can tell that it is a debut, but for a debut, this is a fantastic book, okay? If I was writing for my very first attempt, I would love to write characters as rich and vivid and real as these. Gosh, I love me some Napolitano. I do. And I just want to spend this time to just talk about the characters really quickly. We have Catherine. Catherine is the grandmother and she's very traditional. She grew up in a time where co-parenting really, not even like co-parenting like in separate households, but in the same household. So that might not be a good choice of words. Partnership wasn't really the biggest thing. It was like, you know, her husband was the disciplinary and the lead and she took care of the children and she loved to take care of the children. But she was smart too. She actually has a degree in nutrition, so don't play with grams. And this story hit so different for me. And that's another reason I think I really enjoyed it. Going through what I just went through with my grandmother, we see their grandmother pretty much living in her last days as well. Grandmas are such a nucleus. I have always loved grandparents. I think they're just so cool. They're so much more fun and lighthearted and easygoing than like your parents. They're not as strict. They're just so much fun. I really loved how important their grandmother, Miss Catherine. Oh my God, not somebody riding by during me talking, blowing their horn, child. I live in a subdivision and there's constant construction going on. I'm sorry. Back to it. Like I was saying, Miss Catherine, she reminds me of my grandma a little bit. My grandma was very strong and very composed, just so full of love and so determined and so wise and a woman of few words. I don't know if Miss Catherine was necessarily a woman of few words, but my grandmother was also like telling you what you needed to hear, not always what you wanted to hear. And I feel like Miss Catherine was like that as well. We have Miss Catherine, her daughter Kelly, and her husband Lewis. And Kelly is the one who keeps things together in her own household and even just in her family. She's very foundational to her family as well. And her and Lewis, her and the husband, they're not in a great space. Her husband, they're actually very successful as a couple. They have real estate and things like that. One of her husband's employees, he dies. Lewis can't get over it. He falls into a depression. He's very sad and he becomes obsessed with the employee's family and making sure that they are okay, like cutting their grass, fixing their gutters. He just feels so guilty because the employee died on one of his properties. And as he falls into depression, Kelly becomes lonely. She's trying to get him some help. She's trying to, you know, seek out people that can be friends with him, all the while struggling with her own depression and keeping up this facade that their marriage is okay to their daughters, which brings me to their daughters, Lila and Gracie. I loved both of their characters and I know some people won't like them. That's the beautiful thing about people who can write good characters. They are equally likable and unlikable, and I love that. So I'm gonna start with Lila because I loved her character. I know a lot of people will not love her character. Sometimes she was a little bit mean. Some people would even say she's kind of a B word. She referenced herself that same way. But I understood her character and I found her character to be very funny. She was trying to live up to a standard and have a career that she did not want. She didn't want this for her life, but her grandmother did, her mother did. They're like, oh, this is a job that you should have, which is a doctor. And she was great at it. Number one in her class. It's obviously something that she was able to do well. It just didn't fulfill her. It didn't make her happy. And then I love how we got to see her be attracted to a guy that she would not normally be attracted to. And she's just like, this is not my style. This is not the type of guy I should be with. And so it's beautiful to see her kind of navigate that area of love that you find in unexpected places. I just liked her. I thought she was smart and she was sassy. She was successful. She's very guarded and stern, but really she's actually extremely sensitive. And I just thought she was like such a treat to get to know. Last but not least, we have Miss Gracie. Gracie and Lila are sisters. Gracie is the baby sister, and Gracie finds herself pregnant. That is the biggest thing that is going on throughout the whole story. So Gracie finds herself pregnant, and Graham, Miss Catherine, they call her Graham, she ends up knowing before Gracie even tells her. She's like, oh, how do you know? She's like, girl, I've birthed so many kids. I know when a woman is pregnant. Again, that just reminded me even of my grandma. I'm just like, oh, this book hit me right at the perfect time. Don't you love that? Don't you love when you find the book at the right time and it just hits? And that's exactly what happened for me with this book. Graham feels like this new baby is going to bring the family together, going to fix the cracks and the lack of communication, the lack of vulnerability that the family doesn't have when this new baby is born. The guy that she was pregnant by, she wanted nothing to do with him. She just knew that she wanted the baby. And I know what that's like. I was pregnant with Tristan when I was 18. It's my freshman year in college. And so I just love to see her journey in that, just taking on the challenge of the unknown and something that is uncomfortable and just doing it scared, you know, and hoping for the best. And I was just like, oh, I totally see myself in little moments of Gracie. And I just thought it was such a good journey to see the family be judgmental about her situation, but then also somewhat excited and just kind of navigating their own issues. I think Anne said it best. It was a story about people trying and failing to love one another. It's so much more than what I'm even sharing right now. I don't want to give spoilers, so I just want you to know about the characters and just about the storyline, and just that for a debut novel, let me tell you, Miss Anne did her thing. I gave the book 4 stars, even though I do believe that 3.5, 3.75 is a fair rating because the ending is very open-ended. Lots of breadcrumbs there, so we know what happens, but still we would have wanted to just actually know what happens. Like, baby, where's the epilogue? Or the book wasn't that long. She could have easily added another 50 to 100 pages, but again, it was a debut novel. I enjoyed it. I understand why some people might not enjoy it, but it was definitely my jam.
Baby, we need to talk about this book. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akwaeke Emezi. Let me tell you, I was transfixed, captivated, gripped, and hooked when I read page 1. Baby, I am in a chokehold, okay? And I have a lot of things to say. But first, I am at the movies and I am finally getting to see It Ends With Us. I am so excited about this. It's more fun at MJR. Yes!
At my big age, I do still get the kids' meal.
The clap.
We found a pride festival and they have sausages. You're so good.
When it phases through the pages, I can breathe. You know that I give somebody. What?
Dude, save me some. Is it so good? Look at Tristan in his temporary tattoo. Let me see. She's trying it out. This is so nostalgic. I remember playing this in elementary during PE class. It's so cool.
like my pearls, darling. It's so dramatic. I had church today, and so I just haven't taken them off, but I had to get out of my church clothes, and so I just threw on the Snuggie, and I was like, it has been so many days. I think I opened this video on a Monday or last Sunday. That's insane. So I was like, it is time for us to have a little book chat, okay? Because this book has had me in a chokehold, okay? And I'm pretty sure you're like, what happened to this book? Nothing happened to this book. It's a good book. It's just that it has nothing on this book. I find so much enjoyment in stories that have complexities and that are equally parts fun and funny and thinky and intellectual and enlightening. I think this is more in line with what I was in the mood for now. And it is absolutely nothing wrong with this book, but I couldn't stop thinking about this one. So I was like, let me pause on this because I don't want to not give this book a fair shot, because this one, it just has me enthralled, okay? So I have to share a few quotes because it's just me. If you've been here for a while, you know that's what I'm gonna do. I am going to invite you into the story with me and let you know just why it's so good. But let's go ahead and let's just start with the small little synopsis, okay? So our main character, Faye, has lost her husband and she's trying to attempt at love again for the first time. But before she gets to that true attempt at love, she was out here, okay? She was just single and in a dark place. And then she was just, you know, running through the homies. And so she is the epitome of a messy character. This is the type of book that literary romance readers would absolutely enjoy because it is equal parts complex, funny, it's got grief, it's sensual, it's not overly spicy, it's just so good. It's so layered and it's so good. I love the friendship between Faye and Joy. Her best friend is absolutely hilarious. All of her parts, I'm hollering, I'm cackling. It's just so good. And then Faye, she's a bit of a mess, I'm not gonna lie, but I love her. I do. I love her character. I love what her character represents, and I love how she's trying to navigate her way through grief. I mean, it has to be extremely painful and hurtful to lose the love of your life. And he dies in an accident. This is not a spoiler. She's devastated to just have the love of her life ripped away from her one day. And so that's hard. So like I said, for a long time, she's just been in a dark space. And now that she's out of that space, she's making a lot of mistakes. It's just interesting, but it's still such a beautiful journey just to see her find her way again. Oh, I love it. I love Akwaeke Emezi's writing style. Her prose are beautiful, stunning, the way that she is formulating these words and the way everything flows, and her sentence choice, her word choice, it's all just so beautiful and I love it. I'm here for it. It's very real and it's very raw, and I love that once they get to the island, because she meets a guy before she meets the actual guy that she wants to take a chance with. She meets this guy and she goes on vacation with him, and once they go on vacation and she goes to this island, the writing style is so vivid. It's so vivid and it's so beautiful. I just love it. I love her writing style. I'm just very interested to read another book by her. Have to share this line with you guys because there's just so many lines. Like, look at this. I was clearly cutting up, okay? And I have to share this one with you guys because I was like, this is so good. And if you follow me on Goodreads, you already know I was like cutting up a bit with my updates. But anyway, so Faye is telling the guy, she says, I'm not worth it. And then he says, you're not worth it. So then he's questioning her. He says, do you mean that? If you're telling me you're not worth it, I'll listen to you, Faye. I have no interest in replacing who you know yourself to be. That's powerful. With my imagination of you. Let me say it again because somebody in the back didn't hear it. They didn't get it. He says, if you are telling me you're not worth it, I'll listen to you. I have no interest in replacing who you know yourself to be with my imagination of you. It's not sustainable in the long term. So if you're telling me who you are now, tell me not to bother, then be clear. Oh, listen. The male main character, the way that she wrote him, he's wildly attractive. He's very sexy. He's far too old, in my opinion, for Faye, but you know, it is what it is. Let me just give you guys a sense of his demeanor. He's confident, he's calm, he is full of swag and reassurance. So anyway, he asks her a question. She responds and he says, "You're evading." And then he says, "I only ask one thing. Don't lie to me. I will hold anything you tell me with care." That is such a sexy line. Please hold my truths with care. Listen. This is good. He says, "Just let it be the truth." So good. This is so good. I'm loving it. I'm eating it up. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a 5-star read, and I am not done yet. I am pretty sure that I am going to reread the book. I ended up getting my hands on an audio copy, so certain parts I've been able to read in tandem, and this has just been such an epic experience. I'm pretty sure this is my second favorite romance. It's sexy, it's provocative, it's fun, it's enlightening. I love the way that the author writes about desire. I love the way that she writes about contemporary topics surrounding like love and sexuality. I just love how she's writing about grief. It's just good. I don't have anything bad to say as of yet, and so I just couldn't wait to sit down and update you guys. I think I'm gonna switch gears after this. It's not going to be fair to go from this to this. It's just not. They're not the same. Hopefully after this I'll get on to like a thriller book, and then we can circle back to this and we'll just continue to spend some time together and just read the books on my summer TBR.
Part 2 of this piece.
Why is it part 2?
Because how did it before? This time I got it, y'all.
Okay, now this is the part that she didn't do good on, but my cousin showed her a trick, so I think she's got it. All right, you got it. There we go. Girl, you fucking up. Not you having an asthma attack because you I finished and it was so good. Definitely a 5-star. Like I said, it's definitely going to be the second best book. I might need to reread This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan because I feel like they're almost a tie. I like them for completely and totally different reasons. This Could Be Us was the first book that I ever felt so seen in. I have never felt so seen in my entire life. But as far as romance, I think I liked it for a lot of the other reasons outside of romance. So I don't know. This was really good. This was really, really good. I've been reading some really good romance this year. But anyway, the only thing is that I would have liked if we got to know Jonah a little bit more. However, I feel like we got to know him enough. The story really wasn't about him. It wasn't even about them. It was about her navigating the loss of him, her attempting love again. It was such a beautiful journey. She is such a messy, slightly unhinged character. I like authors who can write characters that are equally lovable and unlikable and just start so much conversation. I enjoyed it. Highly recommend. This was good. So glad that I finally got to it. And then I did go ahead and move on to Finlay. Donavan is killing it. The very first time I read it, not gonna lie, I read chapter 1, half of chapter 2. I was not feeling it. I'm like, oh man. I think it's just because I was so hungover from You made a fool of death with your beauty. So I just was like, let me just give it another day and try again. So I tried again. I started the book all over. I love it. So basically our main character, she's an author. She's recently divorced and she's a mom. Because she's recently divorced, she is struggling financially. Sis got the bills piling up. The debt collectors are calling. It's not looking too good for her financially. She goes and she has lunch with her agent, and oh my God, this is where I was like cracking up. So she has lunch with the agent, and you have to imagine this happening to you. This is why it's so funny. So she's sitting there and they're talking about her book because it's like is it a murder book? Yes. So they're discussing the plot of her new suspense novel, and then another lady ends up hearing it, and because of what they were saying, the lady's like, oh yes, I'm going to hire this woman to kill my husband. You gotta be kidding me. So oh my God. So Finlay is like, look, I know I should not be taking this lady up on this offer. I should just ball up this paper. I should just hang up the phone. And Finlay's like, oh my God, I should totally not get involved in this. But like I said, sis is broke, sis needs the money. You're a mom, you got to do what you got to do for these kids. And so it's just so funny. I'm only 3 chapters in, but I'm having such a blast second time around. That's why it's so important to just read things when you are in the mood for it. And I am so excited to get back into it. You so happy, girl. You about to get your hair done?
Bye.
Okay, bye, Lily. You guys, this book is so funny. I can't even deal. I think it's so thick, okay, because this is actually a pretty long book to be like a suspense mystery book. But I think it's like that because she's very descriptive with like every scene. She knows how to set the scene, set the tone. I really like her writing style. It's very, very descriptive. It's really funny. I mean, laugh out loud funny. Like I was hollering. It was absolutely hilarious. And the babysitter, I love the babysitter. That's the type of person you want on your side, okay? And the story is just so funny to me because this is just a regular old house mom, like a divorced mom of 2. She's a writer and she really gets tangled up in a very dangerous, messy situation by accident. But it's just so funny because it's very fictional, but it's also very realistic. And I'm just having such a good time. I'm eating it up. This part just had me cracking up. Another lady wants her to do another job. She wants her to get rid of her husband as well. And she's like, listen, you guys have the wrong idea. Like, I can't keep getting rid of these husbands. Like, what do you mean? The lady was just like, no, you're going to do this for me. And she was just like, ooh, this lady is like just as scary as her husband. It was so funny because this is the second plot twist that I didn't see coming. I'm not going to say what happened, but this particular lady that she's about to do a job for, she did something and I'm just like, oh my god, I did not see that coming. It's fun, it's lighthearted, it's not overly scary, but it is very funny, it's very twisty, and it's very suspenseful. So I see why the blurbs say what they do, and so far I'm having a really good time. You looking beautiful. Please check Lily out. Bonnet on, glasses on. She reading a rom-com. Yes, Lily. You like your mom? Get it, girl. So the ending of this book, it was fabulous, darling, okay? The audiobook was absolutely epic. It sounded as if there was like 5 different narrators, even though it was just this one lady. What is her name again? Angela Dahl. Listen, sis is the epic narrator, okay? I need to find more audiobooks narrated by her. She was like a kid's voice, nailed it. Russian voice, nailed it. Then even the women's voice, it sounded different from character to character. Like I said, you would have thought it was a full cast reading this book, but it wasn't. It was so good. She nailed it with the nosy neighbor for like the neighborhood watch. I absolutely love how the detective was written. He was written in a way that was very realistic, because for a detective, you know, some books write them like, well, how did they get that past that person? There wasn't much getting past this detective, so I really loved it. I loved the attraction between him and Finlay, and it was just really, really cute. Of course, there were moments that felt unrealistic, but I felt like the moments that were unrealistic, they made the book extremely fun and extremely funny, and that's what fiction is. It's moments where things are unrealistic. It only happens in fiction, so I absolutely loved it. Sandwich is so good. I'm on my lunch break, last lunch break. Today is my last day. Love that for me. I loved how everything wrapped up in this book. I highly recommend, okay? I think it's the perfect book to read in fall. I'm not even mad. Look at me, I probably have food on my lips. I'm not even mad that I'm reading it at the end of the summer, because it's right on the cusp of fall. And so it still was just absolutely perfect to read right now. And I have not got back to the rom-commers.
Not even gonna lie. I'm still just not in the mood to read that book, and so I don't want to force it because it will be a disservice to that book. So I think it's safe to end the vlog. However, I did not get to use my Bath & Body Works gift card that my friend gave me. And since it's my last day, it feels very fitting for me to treat myself to a book like I did when I finished my first day. Perfect day to get a book, baby. I'm loving it here already. My sister sent me to go and get her a coffee because she did not want me there while Justice got her hair done. I'm using the prayer card. My grandma. Oh, what's this? Let me see. Once I saw character traits of Dad, I was just like, yeah, no, I don't want to raise children with this particular individual. Oh, yes. Okay, because this is like a forbidden love. Justice loves to come and get her hair done at the salon. It's so freaking cute. However, I know that I want this baby. I know that this is not the right time. I know that this is going to be hard. This probably is not the wisest decision. And it's also really hard for her with all like the sounds, the lights, the new environment. But because she knows my sister, obviously she feels comfortable with her. Yes, Justice. Jane's looking good. Okay. But for some reason, I wanted her and I knew that we would be okay. And we were. I love you, Grandma. So anyway, I'm using the prayer card as a bookmark. It was like a wildfire, the way he felt against her, the way it spread and consumed. And even as the ignored alarms in Faye's brain reminded her the way it was going to destroy. Listen, the wordplay.